our community and for these council members that take up the job of deciding the matters of the city. We ask you to be with our meeting tonight and that your will be done and that we would go on our way safe this evening. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. This time we will please have roll call.
Mayor Gary Moore.
Present.
City Attorney Darren Rice.
Here.
Alderman Terry Stahl.
Here.
Alderman Alan Marsh.
Here.
Alderman Cheryl Eckleberry. Here. Alderman Eugene McGill is absent. Alderman Bruce McKibben.
Here.
Alderman Clifford Reaver.
Here.
Alderman Judy Eckleberry.
Here.
Alderman Cody Atterbury.
Here.
And we will continue on with the approval of the minutes from the last council meeting. You've had a chance to review those. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion. Second that motion.
Have a motion by Alderman Stahl and a second by Alderman Eckleberry to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Does anyone wish to abstain? Next would be the approval of the bills that have been submitted since the last council meeting. Again, those are in your package. You've had a chance to review and sign those bills. Are there any questions on any of the bills that were submitted for payment? If none, is there a motion to approve the bills as submitted?
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Alderman Dewey Eckleberry, seconded by Alderman Cody Atterbury to approve paying the bills for this meeting. Roll call vote. Stahl.
Yes.
Atterbury.
Yes.
Dewey Eckleberry.
Yes.
Cheryl Eckleberry.
Yes.
Marsh.
Yes.
McGill absent. McKibben.
Yes.
Reaver.
Yes. And the bills are approved. Next would be the public comment section. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council at this time? Seeing none, we will close the public comment section and move into routine business. Just a note, under routine business, item number 3, the appointment of a water filtration lead person will be removed. So we will not take any action on item number 3. The first presentation is a discussion concerning a water rate study. It's, we've talked about this in previous council meetings. When we got the audit, we identified and I challenged each and every one to see what we could do to battle our misfortunes out there. And I told you that I had asked Connor to do a rate study. Shannon Woodard is with us here today. He completed it. We needed to wait till after our audit was done. So at this time, I'm going to ask Shannon to present his findings to the council.
Thank you, Gary. So we'll, I provided a handout there, and there's a lot of information on this sheet. To me, I can breeze through it pretty quick and start, but we're going to start in the second blue column, the items at the bottom where it says 2022, 2023 expense summary. These numbers and the expense total being just under $4.4 million are directly from your audit, and it's a combination of water and sewer expenses, okay? Noted in that is a line for depreciation of the 4.4 million is about 1.1 million in depreciation, okay? Depreciation is not something you write a check for. It's a paper number, it's a paper expense, but it's money that you're encouraged to set aside to take care of capital expenses as they develop, replacements and that type of thing. You can't operate revenue in, expenses out, net zero. You have to have set aside money to take care of the system. We'll come back to that in just a second, but next we'll move directly right to that where we talk about notes. Generally when we do rate studies, we like to see the revenues cover the expenses by 5 to 10%. Okay, so you're covering all the expenses inclusive of depreciation to a level that exceeds that by 5 to 10%. This study uses an annual wholesale use of 85 million gallons. We pulled that directly from the billing clerk. It uses an annual city water use of 140.5 million gallons. Again, this is reflective of direct billing, not water produced. You have water loss. This isn't based on water produced, it's based on water sold. So the total billed use of 2.25 million. We show from the audit that there are some bonds that were issued in 2011 for the water treatment plant that expire in 2033. That there are bonds issued in 2012, which I believe was for a water treatment plant, some extra work there that also expire in 33. In 2016, there was a refinance for what I call the West End Industrial Development Area that expire not long from now in 2027. You will see if we go back to the expense summary that you're spending about $825,000 a year in debt service payments. Okay. The second white column, the current rate structure you have by ordinance is set to run through fiscal year 27. So back when we did the last rate study for the city, which I believe was around 18, there was a rate determined, and then there was an annual increase that was approved, and it's the system that you're currently running with now. That was to the water and sewer was $1 a month per year to the minimum, or to the service charge, minimum charge, and then 25 cents per thousand. This rate study uses the rates that are effective for the current fiscal year, which began in May of 23. The wholesale rate, and we'll talk about it a little bit, but the wholesale rate that you use to sell to the wholesale customers adjusts annually by the consumer price index. And then, though the audit takes all the expenses for water and sewer and combines them into one number, the way that your accounting is performed, they actually separate that in water treatment, water distribution, and sewer, wastewater. They don't separate collection and treatment, but the wastewater, water distribution, water filtration. And we can discern from that information that those three categories make up about 1/3 of the expenses each. Okay, rounded slightly one way or the other. You can pretty well assume 1/3 for each of those categories. And just for a quick footnote there, I took, if the expenses for water filtration were 1.46 million, again, 1/3 of the expenses, and the volume sold was 225 million, which is 225,000 thousands, right? The cost per thousand for filtration is $6.47 per thousand. Now we'll get back to that number in a little bit, but that just is a carrot that I'm throwing out there to get you thinking. So we'll move straight to the top. We talk about sewer system. On the right, we base this on 2,500 in-town customers. There's not really any out-of-town customers. Average use is 4,000 gallons per customer a month. The existing rates generate $930,000. Okay? If we go back down to the bottom, the second right column, we just depicted that the expenses for wastewater are 1.46 million. Okay? The sewer rates fall a little over $500,000 short, almost $600,000 short of covering their own expenses. So from there we can move to the water side. And again, the left green column and the left blue column are just depict what your existing rates are to help me come up with the numbers that are in the right columns. But on the right blue column, we have 2,545 customers in town, 386 customers out of town. They pay a little bit higher rate. Again, the use is about 4,000 a user. The existing water rates, inclusive of wholesale, generate $2,278,000. Okay? The sewer rates generated $930,000 for a combined revenue of $3.2 million. If we go back to the bottom, your expenses were 4.4, depreciation was 1.1. Depreciation's a paper number. If you subtract 1.1 from 4.4, you get 3.3. Your combined revenue was 3.2. Your combined expenses were 3.3, $100,000 short of being able to cover the actual expenses that you had to write checks for. Okay? So your existing revenue to expense coverage is negative 27%. When I started, I said I like to see that coverage, revenue to expense coverage, be 5 to 10% in the positive. You're 27% in the negative. Now, I've thrown out one rate increase option here that shows up on this form that, you know, there's many methods to that madness of how you could go about doing it, but if we were able to get the rates up to where they generated just short of 4.1 million, your proposed expenses with a 1% increase to your expenses would move to 4.4, again, rounded a little higher. You would still be a little under $400,000 short of covering expenses with depreciation, but at least you would be putting some money towards depreciation, okay? You'd be setting some money to the side. You would still be at a revenue to expense coverage of negative 8%, okay? The combined annual increase, which is very exactly like you're doing today, which is $1 to the minimum charge and $0.25 to the per thousand of use, generates each year an additional $130,000. And that rate of increase is today approximately 3%, but each year, because that's a fixed number, that rate of increase goes down, okay? The cash balance in 2017 was $200,000, and the cash balance as of April 23 was $1 million. So over the last 7 or 8 years, this rate structure has helped you. It has moved you in the right direction, but there's just the cost of everything in the last year since COVID has just been enormous. And you know, we used to buy fire hydrants for $700. Today they're about $3,700. I mean, it's just not the same. We're not playing with the same. The rate of increase of inflation has far exceeded the rate at which you were trying to balance your rates at the $1 and the quarter increase per year. The wholesale rate that you currently sell water for is in this fiscal year, or actually that runs through January 1, doesn't it? Through January 1 was $4.42 a thousand. With the CPI this year, it bumped to $4.56 per thousand. We looked at the cost of production, and there's many ways to evaluate that. What goes into that, you know, that's just production, $6.47 to produce water. You have to move the water, you have to bill for the water, you have all these expenses, right? So you could easily say, well, we should add a little for this, a little for that, a little for this, a little for that. You can also look at that from the other way. If that wholesale water went away, if you were no longer able to sell that water, would your expenses go down by the revenue you generate? And on the left there, I show you that your annual revenue at $4.56 per thousand is approximately $400 or $400,000 a year from wholesale distribution. Would your expenses move from 1.46 to 1 million if you stop selling that? Not likely. Okay? You still have the same staff, you still have similar electric bills. It might go down a little bit, but all of your expenses, your debt, all that would stay the same. Your savings would be substantially less. So should the rate be $6.47? No. No. I think as a rule of thumb, when we do these rate studies, we feel like it should be 75 to 80% of that number. And to be honest, with the CPI, it's a little slow getting you there, But because of the inflation we've seen over the last years, it's quickly gonna catch you up. I think you're probably, you're not on fire there. I think you're in a decent position. Outside of that, that's a lot of information to absorb in one meeting. I would just answer any questions you might have. We have recommendations within this as to how to get there. Again, there's many ways to go about doing that. This is one option. But most importantly is to point out the water rates are doing far better than the sewer rates. The sewer rates have some catching up to do.
Anybody got any questions? And again, like Shannon said, you know, he has some proposed numbers there, but you know, that's all it is just a proposed number. You know, after now we got the rate study, you know, we will ask the water committee and we will ask the finance committee to come together and develop a plan to see what we can't attack and make things better. Anybody got any questions?
I don't.
Shannon, thank you very much.
All right, have a good evening. I'm not going to stay unless you.
Okay, no, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you, Shannon.
All right.
All right, we'll move on to item agenda number 2 is the ordinance amending the code concerning the cemetery fees. And we had the discussion last council meeting, and we give Attorney Rice some recommendations to change the ordinance. Attorney Rice?
Yeah, so I did, the changes, you know, they're in front of you. They've got the strike through on the things that are being basically repealed. Basically, we're taking out any type of Sunday opening of graves, and we're increasing the fee to $600. And I also provide that a funeral service may not commence later than noon on Saturdays, and that if the burial is before noon on the next business day following a weekend or a city holiday, the charge will be $600. And there was another part in the was Chapter 92 of the cemetery ordinance, and I've got down that this other part reflects that Sunday internments are prohibited. And basically that's what I was instructed to do, I believe, the last time we met. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions? And again, you know, the cemetery is one of those entities, you know, that we don't expect to make any money off of it. But, you know, we need to do what we can to control our expenses out there. You know, I've made it pretty clear that if there's a service on Sunday, you know, our employees get double time. And if there's a service on Saturday, they will continue to get time and a half. But again, this is not going to bring us profitable, but it's, you know, it's a start to where we can control some expenses that are out there. Questions? If none, is there a motion to approve the ordinance amending the cemetery fees?
I'll make that motion.
Alderman Cheryl Eckenberry, is there a second?
I'll second.
Alderman McKibben, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Does anyone wish to abstain? That ordinance passes. The last item on the agenda for this evening, you know, as we're nearing closer and closer to the eclipse, there's lots of festivities that are planned throughout the Midwest. You know, Libby and Claire Vaughn and Doug and the Tyler Lampley with the Recreational Committee, you know, they've been working hard to get some festivities that we feel, you know, will be beneficial. You know, we're less than, you know, a couple months, about a month away, a little more than that. So I've asked Libby Lingefelter to kind of give us an update so that we understand, you know, maybe what's going to happen. Libby?
I'll do my best. So the rec committee is meeting every 2 weeks. We're meeting at the chamber office Thursday, so March 7th is the next meeting at 8 o'clock. If you want to come, you're welcome to attend. Those are open to the public. Kind of brainstorming sessions, lots of, thanks to the police, fire, rec committee. It's been a lot of hands on deck and a lot of chaos, but I think we finally are narrowing it down. So Friday night, Little Texas is coming to town. I'm sure you've heard on the radio, all the other communities around us are doing stuff on Saturday night, so that's why we opted for Friday night, if there's any questions about why that was Friday. So those tickets are on sale. They're simple ticks. Claire officially has the Solar Eclipse Fairfield 2024.com website up and running, so the easiest way to buy those tickets is to go to that website, buy them online. As we get closer to date, we will have those available to buy in the chamber office. I just don't want to open that door too early. So lots of people, we understand, in our community don't like to do things online, so we are going to have that option open closer to date. Saturday is going to be a family day, so we're really going to highlight our downtown. We're going to use the post office parking lot, city parking lot there by the post office. We're going to have 3 food trucks over there. We're going to have inflatables over there. Merchants are going to be open, so we're really just kind of trying to highlight the downtown. Saturday evening, we had talked about doing something, but with everyone else popping up with all these great concerts going on, we opted not to do anything at all on Saturday. The Elks will have some entertainment. Different venues in our community will do stuff for the people that are staying here, but as far as the city and the rec committee, we are not going to do anything Saturday evening. Sunday is going to be a family day at the park, so we're going to kick off with a church service at 10. Open mic. Connor Atterbury is going to perform. So different local people are just going to perform throughout the day on Saturday. We've opened it up to nonprofit vendors, so no food trucks, but if a church wants to come and have a pork burger sale or a youth group, we've also opened that up to the students at FCHS, so the CEO kids, if they want to come out and set up a booth to sell their stuff, we're obviously going to let them come out and do that. We're going to have face painting, inflatables, so just kind of a whole family fun day out there at Leo French Park on Sunday, and then VPF is going to host a movie Sunday evening, starting around 7. Monday, we do not have anything planned as far as the city rec committee goes. It's going to be kind of all hands on deck, just safety and traffic control. A few things that we have done, we've started delivering t-shirts to all the schools, so we did get sponsorships for those t-shirts. They have the Solar Eclipse Fairfield, Illinois Center of It All logo on those. We got sponsorships for those, so each kid in Wayne County, including North Wayne, Wayne City, and we even had someone reach out and say they would sponsor North City, because we have several Wayne County students that go to North City. So they all got, I shouldn't say they all got, we are in the process of getting those handed out to every school. We had those made here locally with Mindy's Sew Shop, and then we had solar eclipse glasses that we also gave to every student in Wayne County. That stuff is also for sale at Save-A-Lot and on the Etsy shop and at the chamber office. So that's kind of another way we're raising funds to cover some of the expenses that's, you know, going to incur when you have a big event and lots of people coming to town. So I'll be happy. That's kind of a 360 view of what the weekend looks like, but I'll be happy to answer any questions if you haven't.
When's the next meeting you said?
Thursday, March 7th at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, okay. And what was the website to go get the tickets?
Solar Eclipse Fairfield 2024. And that website, Claire set that up, and she also included, you know, places to eat, places to stay. So Airbnb links are on there. The camping link is on there. Different organizations that are doing stuff. So the Wayne County Senior Center is going to do a breakfast fundraiser on Monday. All that information is shared on that website. So we'll be happy to share stuff. we are not going to, you know, team up with anyone to market their stuff, but we'll be happy to share that stuff. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Claire.
Thank you.
And again, or Libby, I'm sorry. As we get closer to this, I mean, if we had the crystal ball of what Fairfield is gonna look like, you know, I'm not for sure if we would jump up and down or we would hang our heads. We've heard that, you know, our population could double, you know, and please understand that there are gonna be challenges, on that day, on that weekend. You know, being the center, you know, getting people in here is gonna be maybe fun. Getting people out of here may be funner. You know, Chief Callclazier, Andrew Miller, EMA, I mean, you know, they're working hard, they're developing plans. You know, I made a joke, the only thing we need on April 8th is backwaters. You know, so people can, GPS can take them right into the water. But please understand that as hard as the groups have attempted to count, we're gonna miss something. So, you know, it is what it is. It'll be something to talk about with our grandkids maybe one of these days. Anybody else have any questions? That will move us into the miscellaneous thing. And the only thing that, and I usually don't talk too much about it, but Governor Pritzker has presented something that will eliminate the 1% grocery tax. Now, that might sound beneficial to you as an individual, but as to the municipality, you know, that's a lot of money that we gain. You know, the expectations is the 1% tax in the state of Illinois will generate about $325 million for municipalities. And how are you going to replace that if it goes away? You know, if the state was going to take $325 million out of their general fund and distribute, that might be a different story. But, you know, at this point in time, you know, IML, who's our legislative group, you know, has asked that, you know, we start reaching out to the state representatives, the state senators, to express our displeasure and ask them not to support the reduction of this 1%, because, again, you've heard me say many times, the city of Fairfield is funded in a few ways. So that's not a good piece of legislation that has been proposed. Hopefully it gets defeated, but it's bad. It's bad for the municipality of the city of Fairfield. That's all that I have under miscellaneous. Does anybody else have anything they would like to talk about under miscellaneous?
I was wondering if Darren had any updates on the houses.
They're still kind of in the works, so to speak. I've got a couple of, I think maybe it was a month ago or 2 months ago, we had reached out to some of the people to potentially have them deed the property to us to kind of speed up the process. Yeah. And I've got a couple that I'm following up on to hopefully, you know, I can bring back some good news, you know, and everything. But still working at it, but I'll keep you posted. So. And I actually talked with a realtor in town that, you know, there's a house down in the 4th Ward on Walker Street, you know, that has been condemned. You know, they asked, you know, the person, you know, Social Security asked for an appraisal of the house. The previous one was at a negative appraisal, but the second, you know, the Social Security people says that there's still value in that house. So I mean, sometimes, you know, Attorney Rice does the best that he can do and tries to get it done, but the obstacles are far and high and many. You know, there's no simple way. I mean, we've reached out to them, we've asked them to deed us over the property, but they just won't do it.
Anything else under miscellaneous? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion by Alderman Dewey Eckleberry,
I'll second it.
second by Alderman Terry Stahl. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Anyone wish to abstain? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.